Welcome to a new Waterwave TV interview. My name is Ricky. You are watching Waterwave TV. You can check us out on all platforms everywhere at Waterwave TV. But we have a very special guest in the building. You can tell by the title. We have Uzzah in the building.
Let's go.
Hey,
How
this
you
is
doing?
good. I'm doing good. This is a Waterwave live stream veteran right here.
Oh yeah.
That's how we found out about
Yeah,
him,
that's
and
right.
now you're here on the pod.
I was at a
So don't be scared to submit your music to our live streams. You never know, you
yeah.
might end up on the podcast. He's
That's
living
right.
proof of it
That's
right
right.
here.
Yeah, I was at a truck stop like after work, and I was like, I saw Waterwave live, and I was like, man, I gotta get like familiar with them. So I submitted my music, and
Mm-hmm.
and they liked it. So
Yeah.
we're here
I
now.
feel like the first music video I seen of you was the one where you're like sitting on the water.
Yeah.
What's that one called again?
That one's called Love to Sin.
Love to Sin.
I flew out to Utah, and we did that in the Salt Flats. And it wasn't actually supposed to be water, but it flooded.
Oh, wow.
When we got there to the location, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh man, we're not going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down there, and it was just like an inch. And I was like, hey, this is going to be real
No,
cool.
it was really cool. It looked like
Yeah.
you were floating on water. Like it was really
Yeah,
cool.
it gives that. The reflections were like fire.
Yeah, and instantly I'm like, damn, this guy is like, he must be signed to some major label or like something because the production was crazy. The audio, like of the video production, the audio production was good. Like everything about it was perfect. It sounded good. It looked good. And then it's hard. Not many people are doing that type of shit out here.
Yeah, thank you. Especially as an independent artist, it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to get to that point.
Yeah.
But I was scrolling on Instagram, and I found this video creator who had really cool visuals, and so I reached out to him, and he had just gone viral, so I was like, it was hard to get a hold of him. I ended up like finding his personal Facebook page, and I was like, hey, I have this song. Would you be interested in doing a like a music video?
Mhm.
And he listened to the song. And he was like, yeah, let's do
Mhm.
this. And so I've started working with him like consistently now.
That's good.
I have another one with him coming up that's already done, but that one comes out in May, so not for a while.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like releasing songs consistently.
You have like a good rollout planned and stuff.
Yeah, so I have them all scheduled out monthly, so
Mhm.
like once a month
Mhm.
until, I mean, for I think 7 months out now.
That's good.
I just released one this Friday called Daydreams.
Okay. Yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, instantly the whole Waterwave crew was like, this guy's fire. Like you're like making like industry music. Like I said, like it sounded like you were already like put on. But has music always been around your life? Like since a young kid, like singing and stuff, or like when did you pick it up?
Yeah, so I grew up in a homeschooled family actually,
Mm.
and my brothers. I'm the youngest of 9. I'm the second youngest of 9, but the youngest brother. There's 5 brothers, and my older 4 brothers, they had a band, and so they were all like touring, and I just learned the instruments. I wanted to be a part of the band, but they already had everything covered, and I was too young, so I just learned the instruments that they had laying around, and then I was always around music,
Mhm.
and that's kind of how I got started. It was just, I guess, inevident.
Yeah,
that I
just
was,
being around it.
yeah.
When did you like decide that you wanted to like pursue a music career?
Um, that's I don't know when it actually started
Mhm.
because I've been around music so long. Um, I think there was a time I was doing music at like 16 was when I really started producing and trying to make my own music. And eventually I got to, 18, and I was like, man, I need to make money. Like I got to go
Mhm.
get a job. So I went out, worked at McDonald's, and I mean, then I got a job at like this concrete place, and I just kind of let go of music for a few years, but it never let go of me.
Yeah.
And so, like, I would always come back. No matter where I was, I would set up this rinky dinky little studio, and bless you.
There you go.
And I would just be making music, and it wasn't very like high quality back then,
Mhm.
but I would always come back to it. And then I feel like I could never let it go, and I realized kind of that was what I really wanted to do.
Yeah. Did you ever have you always been like sing like you've been good at singing? Have you like or took choir or anything like that? Did you ever do any like music lessons along the way? Because like being a rapper or like a lot of rappers I interview, it's like anybody can like start rapping. You got to obviously get good at rapping, but like you don't need a
Mhm.
good voice. You don't need like a good singing voice, but like you sing and your voice sounds good. So it's like, did you ever have to like practice, or has it always just been like a gift you had?
No, I definitely I didn't have the best voice. I mean, I had a good voice and I could hit the melodies right. I think the tones, but
Mhm.
um, I had to find my voice. But
Mhm.
back when I was like 16, I always tried to sound like Coldplay,
Mhm.
and like I'd write like them. I'd try to sing like him, and um, but yeah, eventually I just started developing more and practicing more
Mhm.
like different tones and yeah, I just kind of found it. But I'm always singing like even when I was like when I'm at work,
Mhm.
people would say like, "Hey, Nick, you're always singing,"
Mhm.
and I think it was like subconsciously practicing
Yeah.
constantly.
So you can tell you have like a true passion for music,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Because a
definitely.
lot of people I think are in the music industry for wrong reasons. You know, they want to be famous,
Mm,
they want to be rich or whatever it is.
yeah,
But it's
yeah,
you can tell when people like have a passion for music and they'll do whatever it takes to continue to be able to do music. And like you mentioned, like you're independent. So how do you balance like being able to pay bills but still like trying to be a a music artist on a daily basis too?
yeah. So that's a good question. That was one of the reasons that I kind of got pulled away from music for
Mhm.
those couple years, is because I didn't see a way to make money in it,
Mhm.
and um, I've always had like an entrepreneurial type of like I don't know
Like mindset?
mindset,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I worked at this concrete place, and I saved up like every dime, and
Mhm.
I eventually bought a semi truck because my older brothers, they once they were done with the band, they started a company, a trucking company out
Mm.
in North Dakota, and I was like, man, like that's what I should be doing. I should be following along because it's working for them.
Mhm.
And I still wasn't doing much music, just dabbling at that point. And I put all the money I saved up into a truck, and I got my CD. I bought the truck. No, let's see. I got my CDL, and then um, my brother taught me how to drive.
Mhm.
And then let's see. I bought this truck, and I drove it out to North Dakota, and it kind of broke down when I got there. It was a
Ooh.
cheap truck. I
Yeah.
paid like 11,000 for it, and it barely made it out to North Dakota. And I was like, oh man, this is terrible. Like I don't have any more money,
Mhm.
and so I had credit cards, and I paid this company to fix it on just credit card, maxed out my credit cards, and I was like, I need to pay off my credit cards. So I started living in my car out in North Dakota,
Wow.
working at this oil company, and I lived in there for like 2 weeks while I was just paying off my credit cards. And then
Mhm.
eventually, they brought the truck up to me, and it broke down in the parking lot. So I moved into the truck, and I was like, well, that's an upgrade.
Yeah.
And so I was living in this broken down truck in a parking lot and working at this company until I paid off the credit cards, and then I was able to get the truck running.
Mhm.
And then I wasn't able to drive it yet because I wasn't 21. I couldn't get it on insurance.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, I quit like a month before my birthday.
Mhm.
And then I hired a friend who was like, he already knew how to do the truck driving job.
Mhm.
I hired him to teach me how to run
Wow.
my own truck. And so yeah, then I turned 21 and I just started driving. And that kind of freed me up because as like an owner operator truck driver, you make your own schedules.
Yeah.
And so I worked out there for I think 4 years before I was like, all right, this is good. Like I I need to get back and do music
Mhm.
because this is not the life. Like that's not what I was meant to be as a
Yeah.
truck
You don't want to
driver.
be a truck driver the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, I was living in the truck for years,
Mhm.
just and music was always like on my mind, even
Mhm.
out there. And so I came back, um, and I did "Empty for Days," and that
Mhm.
was like my first song that as Uzzah, and that was kind of like the beginning of it, like
Mhm.
where I was like, this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
and yeah. So
So you
in
did
order
the
to
truck driving for like 4 years hard, or?
4 years hard, and I still do it. Like I
Mhm.
still have my CDL,
Mhm.
but it's gotten easier now because I was like, all right, I need to level up. I even at one point I bought like two more trucks, and I was like hiring drivers,
Mhm.
and that kind of got complicated, and I was like, I'm too nervous. I was like, I trained some drivers in, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I like the responsibility of like
Mhm.
people like I don't know.
Making sure everyone's happy
Yeah,
and
happy,
not
safe, and
stuff's getting there on
and the
time.
other thing is like in the because it was in the oil field and it's
Mhm.
such an unstable industry. Like
Mhm.
it goes up and down that I was like, I gotta take it when it's good and just work on music when it's not. And yeah, so I did that and I sold like my trucks to the drivers, and they were like all happy. So
Because
that
they're
was
kind of
good.
like independent.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm just gonna focus on one. And then I drove for a few more years, and then I got a guy who drives it for me, and he does 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and he's happy, I'm happy, and I get to do music full time. So
nice.
it works out good.
Has being a truck driver brought you any music opportunities?
Yeah.
Yeah?
that's it's funny you asked that. So my brother, he runs the company, and we work for this one company, and normally we just work for that specific company, but he was like, hey, let's all try this other company since this company's slow right now. So we went out into the absolute middle of nowhere, and there was like no service on the pad. There was like 15 trucks, 15 drivers on the job, and I wasn't even working that time, but I was like preparing for my concert. Timbaland was like supporting. He's a huge support, but he was like posting about me, and so it was like a really exciting time. And my brother was talking to this guy that he had apparently sold a trailer to. He was on that pad, on that location, and he recognized the trailer. He was like, hey, how's that trailer working out for you? And he was having issues with it, so my brother showed him like how to use it properly, I guess. And they got to talking. He showed him my music, and apparently that guy, his cousin, works at Empire as an A&R.
Oh, wow.
And so he was like, he looked into my music, and then he sent it to his cousin. And then I got this message on Instagram like, hey, my cousin showed me your music, and we want to like talk. And so I didn't know that was, how it got connected until later. And I was like, wait, what?
So you got,
that's so crazy.
Wow. So that shows hard work can pay off in the ways that you don't even imagine it would too.
Like, that I couldn't have written that in a movie.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world?
So so Empire, the guy from Empire contacts you. Have you done any business with Empire? Did you strike a deal with them?
Yeah.
Or how's that working?
Yeah, they ended up offering me a distribution deal, which is like really good.
Yeah.
And they invited me down to their studio, and we're on board together. So
nice. So for the people that don't know, like, how does a distribution deal work? Like when you sign to a label for a distribution deal, like what does that mean exactly?
So distribution, like for example, like DistroKid, that would be distribution. But for Empire, I think they have better deals with the DSPs, and they're more like hands-on with you. They work with you more. So like they, I don't know. They have a huge network of different producers that they can connect me with. They have all their artists, and they post me on their Instagrams, and just like the better deals with the DSPs, I notice makes a huge difference in the streaming income too.
And because it's like if you sign to someone like an Empire for a distribution deal, like they might have a relationship with the people that are making like the big playlists as well. Like Rap Caviar or whatever it may be, whatever genre you're in. That one's just always pops me. It's like the biggest one on Spotify.
Yeah.
And then they obviously, like you said, like posting on social media, connecting you with the people that they work with, because like they basically take like. And when you distribute anywhere, you're either paying for a service or they're taking a percentage. So they basically just like take a percentage of the money that's made off the music that they're distributing, basically, right? That's how they make money.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And then they put you in all those right doors and make your career go bigger.
Yeah, like they invited me down to their studio. I met some like big producers, and
that's cool.
And another thing is like they have this incredibly cool studio down there, and I'm able to just schedule time to work with them,
That's awesome.
That's huge.
And so is that kind of how you got real organized with like a song a month on a rollout? Are they helping like with that process, or how does that work?
Yeah, I used to try and release. I kind of like this last year. I hadn't released much, and I was just kind of working on stuff behind the scenes and driving truck and stuff. But I had some meetings with them, and they were saying, all right, we got to line up all your songs that you have ready and have them sitting ready and lined up. Because the longer they sit there, the more likely playlist creators are to put them in playlists. And I didn't know that, and so I just lined everything up, and they helped me. They pitched the songs to playlists, and they know the strategies.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, the deeper you get into the industry, the more. I mean, they don't become empire for no reason,
Yeah.
or overnight.
Yeah,
It's
no.
all the networking and
Networking is huge.
yeah, the stuff that you can kind of piggyback off of their growth because they think that they can turn you into a bigger star.
Yeah.
Have you seen like growth in your career since like that Empire cosign or like you did like a show? I think kind of was that your show you did like your Uzzah show with like the cool backdrop and stuff like that was
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the Empire deal, right?
Yeah, that was before. That
Okay.
was I was that was man, me and my brother. My brother Sam, he has this he's super creative when it comes to stage productions.
Yeah.
And so he was like, dude, like whenever you're ready to do shows, like I want to help you with
Yeah.
stage
I
production.
remember you posting videos of you guys working on it, and I was like, wow, like this is like you got like you're putting in hours and hours and hours and hours for the production of just how it's gonna look on stage, not including like booking the venue, practicing your music, like you're putting hours in just for the
just the
look,
production.
just the look of it, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I was doing these like, because that was like at the beginning, I was still like nervous on stage and stuff, and I was like, man, let me throw up like an actual concert, and so I got invited to like perform at this like small concert, and I was like, man, I need like letters on stage because people need to know like to look me up. And I was just thinking this little, like box that says Uzzah or something on there. And he was like, no, let's cut these out and of plywood. And I was like, all right. And so the funny thing is the concert that I did like a few days later, the letters were too big for that whole the whole stage anyways. And I was like, oh, okay, let's keep working on this. And so he ordered these there are those LED roll lights that people like put in their rooms and stuff. And he figured out how to program them to where he would put them on in a square and then like solder them into this like electronic controller that would communicate with the computer. And so he had this program that would communicate, and I would communicate, like I would send triggers to through logic to the other computer that would like trigger those designs that he would make. And it was really cool.
Like it would change to like the beat of the music.
Yeah. So it's all synchronized to the music, and it took hours and hours of just soldering and
I bet
stuff. But man, it's so worth it.
Yeah,
that show was cool.
Reminds me, I had one of those cheap little light setups I installed in my car when I was in high school that would sync to the music, and I thought it was so cool driving around with the lights changing to the music and shit like that. Around that time was like the same time that like Timbaland discovered your music, right? Because I feel like he was like saying, make sure you check out his show next week or something. I remember him on live stream. So how did that come about? Like, how does he hear about you, and then what did he have to say about your career?
So I was driving out to North Dakota to get ready for some more work, and I saw him doing this live stream, and I was like, oh man, that's Timbaland. He's like listening to people's music. It's like, I got to get on that. But I was driving, and I didn't have any music or anything ready with me. And so I was just listening to it while I was driving. And then a couple days later, I saw him on it again, and I was driving truck, and I was like, dude, I got to get on this. Like, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? And so I was unloading the truck, and I saw him live, and I paid the $5 like to submit to the song. And right away he accepted it. But then it was too loud, and he was like, man, we can't hear anything. Your truck's going, like, something's going crazy. And so he just like ended it, and I was like, oh man, that was crazy. There was
you had to join his Instagram live or whatever.
His TikTok,
like you physically joined it. Like you didn't you physically joined it with your cameras.
Yeah. And so I got like kicked off right away because it was too loud, and I was like, oh. And so like the next time around I came back and he was still live, and this time I was like, all right, I'm gonna shut my truck off. I'm gonna shut the pumps off. It's gonna be quiet. And the funny thing is there was like a couple hundred people, or there was like, I think there's a maximum 100 people can request to join live at a time. And both times he like tapped me immediately. And the next time it was like, okay, this is what we're doing. He was like, first he asked me like, wait, what do you got on your head? Because I had this hard hat on, and I was just at work. And he thought it was really cool. And then so he was like, man, let's hope your music is good. And so he played it, and he was like blown away. And I was like, I wasn't even expecting like as big of a reaction
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, like I was nervous. I was like, man, this is a legend. What is he going to think about all my hard work?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, he was like, we gotta like get you with some writers and uh yeah. So he had a really positive reaction. And
Mm-hmm.
then later I submitted more music to him and he's like, dude, like this is crazy. I'm gonna call you right after this.
Mm-hmm.
And he did call.
Wow.
And he told me that like all your songs, he's like, I listened to all your songs that you sent me. He's like, they all sound like top 40 hits. And I was like, that is like the biggest compliment ever.
Mhm.
And when he ended up, I guess, talking to his team, and they were like, no, let him keep going a little bit on his own, and we'll keep supporting him. But like later on, we'll work with him.
Mhm.
And so we didn't end up working yet, but he's like a huge supporter,
Yeah.
and that's like it's super valuable. I wasn't even expecting like
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah,
But
it's like this is all like within this year, right?
this was 1 year ago,
Okay.
and this last year was kind of like I was working on other stuff,
Mhm.
like behind the scenes, like getting the distribution deal set up
Mhm.
and um, working on contracts with some work that I did without a contract that kind of
Mhm.
got complicated. And now it's just like it's go time. So this
Mhm.
is like this is the very beginning of like a big growth.
Mhm.
I feel like.
Yeah, it was like actually having the plan,
Yeah.
knowing what you're gonna be doing, and then if it fails, it fails. If it works, you planned for it. It's
Yeah,
like, but
yeah.
this is like,
This is
this is the where you take a leap of faith, I guess you could say,
exactly.
because
I mean, it's all
maybe
been a
not
leap
even a
of
leap of
faith.
faith, but like it's not even a leap. It's the faith. It's like no matter what you're gonna you have the plan. A leap of faith I feel like is you don't have a plan. So like whatever the saying is of like you have A, B, and C set up ready to go,
Yeah, yeah.
and if it works, you were ready for it, and if it doesn't work, you tried your hardest,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like it just wasn't receptive.
So as far as like what Empire has done for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we're about to see,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like
that's
really see it come to
yeah,
fruition.
yeah, exactly.
All the things that people have been saying good about you like really come to life.
Yeah, I've been working on it for years, and I'm ready to blow
Mhm.
up overnight.
Yeah. Overnight, yeah. The overnight blow up over years of work.
Yeah.
Another thing that you do outside of music, which I feel like I see it on your page all the time, is you like I feel like you're really big on like helping other people. Like
Yeah.
you as much as you've said that you've been working and doing music and all this how busy you are. Like we were supposed to do this podcast last week, but you went to Florida to help with Hurricane Helene. Like help
Yeah.
clean up the mess, right? Like it's
Yeah.
kind of like the motive. Like so one, I want to know that specific situation. Like what was it like out there? But I feel like I've seen you post like you go a lot of places to like help with like natural disasters or human disasters. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you that seems to be like the other half of you. You got the
Yeah.
music artist and I guess maybe the other third of you. Music artist, truck driver, one day probably going to be president. You know what I mean? Like so what was going to Miami or where was it at?
It was
Exactly
like
Florida.
it was like right through Tampa, north of Tampa.
Okay, so what was it
And
like going out there and seeing what happened and cleaning up and helping?
yeah, my brother, he started this cleanup company that FEMA like they
How many
bring them
brothers
in.
do you have?
There's 5 of us,
Okay,
but
because
then
every
there's 4
brother's got a
sisters.
business. It seems
Yeah.
like.
And like we're all entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
um and so yeah, he got this equipment and I went down there to clean up. I just helped him drive. Like I have a CDL, so I was
Mhm.
driving in the vehicles that they need like this bucket truck to cut like leaning stuff that's leaning like trucks that's trees that are leaning over power lines and
Mhm.
uh it looked like it was just a good storm, a lot of trees down
Mhm.
in the Florida Georgia area, but what really was interesting was like North Carolina got hit hard
Yeah.
with the flooding, but we didn't go there. Yeah, I just went down to kind of help my brother
Mhm.
get started, and they're the ones that are really cleaning it up.
Mhm.
But it's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you've done? Like, I know you're really big on like the Free Palestine
Hmm.
movement and stuff like that. Maybe you can touch a little bit more on that. But like, I feel like I've just seen you like always out and about, like standing for the greater good of the humanity. I don't know,
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
seem like you do a lot of stuff like that.
yeah.
So.
No, we got to, especially I have a platform. I'm working on building a platform.
Mhm.
I think people are what make a platform, and
Mhm.
I gotta give back to the people. I
Yeah.
guess I feel like otherwise it's just almost feels selfish.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, free Palestine. I'm just like it's crazy what's going on over there, and I don't know. You couldn't not support the people of Palestine. I guess
Mhm.
just looking at what's going on, and now they're going into Lebanon, and I don't know. I I fully support Lebanon and Palestine.
Mhm. And you mean even like just being a music artist, you can
Hmm.
like try to like give love and help and
Hmm.
hope maybe even through
Yeah,
music and stuff too,
yeah. I
right?
wrote a song called "When We Cry."
Mhm.
That all the funds from that, I just send it all over to like
Mhm.
charity and
Yeah.
stuff. And as I get more popular, that song does better. So it's like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like my way of using my art to contribute to the
Mhm.
to humanity, I
Yeah.
guess.
What is it called again for everyone
When
listening?
we cry.
When We Cry by Uzzah. Go stream that song. Go straight towards helping
Yes,
others.
sir.
um, but yeah, no, I feel like everything that you're doing from you stuck it out, self entrepreneur, making music, driving the trucks, meeting the people you need to meet, taking
Yeah.
advantage of all these opportunities. It's like it kind of you're painting the story of like the success stories that you hear from people. You know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
people have like all these cool stories after they blew up and they're making all this money or have all this fame or whatever it may be that people perceive from others, like they always have like, oh, it wasn't always like this, like, and you
Mhm.
kind of have it. Um, we're
Yeah.
we're currently in Minneapolis, but you said you grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, so it's like not even barely on the map. It's called Wilson, Wisconsin, but right
Mm-hmm.
now I moved over like 15 minutes to a place called Baldwin, Wisconsin, where I
Mm-hmm.
have my studio. But yeah, I grew up on a farm and homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
Never really got out until my older brother started touring, and that was
Mm-hmm.
when I was like, "Oh, the world is bigger than just this farm."
Yeah, yeah. No, what Wisconsin, those small towns in Wisconsin, I can definitely see how like if you don't get out of it, you don't really see much of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Mankato, Minnesota,
Hmm.
so it's a little bit bigger. It's probably like a 50,000 population, maybe 80,000 population if you combine like all the little small areas around it too.
Hmm.
Um, but no, like people definitely get stuck in a trap of staying in one spot in Mankato even too,
Yeah.
and
Y-
it can happen.
Yeah, that's why I'm like really grateful that my brothers had that band that brought him
Hmm.
out, because like that was like a huge
Eye opener
eye
probably for
opener.
you, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and like being a music artist in Minnesota in your lane, do you feel like you have kind of like the resources you need out here, or do you think you're gonna like is traveling and kind of taking the next big step of your music career going to take place in a different city?
Yeah, I have kind of my home base like resources here, but I'm ready to like take it to the next level and
Hmm.
keep growing, keep networking, and do some collaborations.
Hmm.
So definitely in the near future, I see me going to LA,
Hmm.
just because that's where the networking is.
Is that where Empire is too?
Empire, they're actually in San Francisco,
Okay,
but I'll be going back and forth from LA to San
yeah,
Francisco.
closer than Minneapolis or San
That's for
Francisco.
sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But
Damn. Yeah, I don't know. That's just cool. It's cool to see. That's one of my favorite things about Waterwave is just seeing artists grow.
yeah,
Like or whoever clothing brand owners or whoever it may be, promoters, whatever DJs, whatever you may be. And I don't know. It's cool. Like the fact that like I don't know, over a year ago maybe you submitted a song into our live stream,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
just like being able to follow along with your career. And then you have like common people you work with, like Gora. Like he works with us, he works with you. Oh yeah, I know Uzzah. Oh yeah, he's got this cool stuff going on. I'm like, oh wow, he does got a lot of cool stuff going on. Let me actually like pay more attention, you
Yeah,
know. So I don't know. It's been cool. It's been
yeah,
fun to be along for the journey and everything and
yeah. Thank
whatnot
you.
too. You know.
Yeah, and it's just the beginning.
Yeah,
It's like
that's the crazy thing.
this year is gonna be or this like next months are gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning more music videos, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, I put a lot of work into my music videos. Like I go hard with those.
I
I
know.
flew all the way to like the Middle East to do the one for Empty Hearted Anthems, and the reason I did that was because there was like a creator. There's a creator over there. She goes by Nina Nako, and I really just liked like her artwork, and so I was like, all right, I'm flying over there. She was down for it, so I was like, let's do it. But yeah, I got planning more music videos. I got one made that's coming up. I'm just everything's happening now.
It's
It's go
happening.
time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah,
Is
thank you.
there? So yeah, you got new releases coming up, but for any viewers that are watching right now that maybe have never heard of you and they stuck through this whole podcast, like what would you like to tell them? What should they go check out? Like what's a good first impression of Uzzah? You know.
Love to Sin. That's like right now. That's probably like if you listen to Love to Sin, Empty Hearted Anthems, When We Cry, of course,
Mhm.
and Waiting for You. Those are like the 4 bangers that I think that really represent who I am. Yeah.
All right, man. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we finish this podcast? Anything I forgot to ask about that was like, how the fuck did you forget that? Damn, might be the first swear word in the whole pod. Wow. I'll have to bleep it out maybe. That could have been a whole clean pod. But like, is there anything that I forgot to ask that I should have asked? You know?
Let me check. I made a list.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
I think now we just watch it all go down.
Yeah, because it's like because it's like early on you got so much stuff that you've done, but it's like damn, there's gonna be so much more that's gonna happen. I'm excited. I like I said, I love watching people grow, and I love being like you said. This is your first ever interview.
Yeah,
I love being people's first interviews, like so people can look back in 10 years when like you're famous and you changed the world and you ended world hunger and fixed climate change. That like, oh, that's where he was at before he did all that, you know. So
no, it's cool to have my first interview here because it feels like Waterwave TV is like my, I don't know. It's like my first time meeting you, but we've done some stuff together, so it's like it feels right to do it here.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything I missed?
No, that was everything.
Right.
Thank you.
Man, his Instagram is on the screen as well as in the description or wherever you're watching this. It's in the title. It's Uzzah Official. This was Ricky from Waterwave TV. You can follow us at Waterwave TV. Come shop with us at 1521 Como Avenue, Southeast Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we sell vintage, hype, sneakers, Minnesota sports gear, local brands, all that stuff. You can book studio time with us to work with any of our engineers, or if you just need the space, at waterwavetv.com. Oh, wait. waterwavetv.com. We're on that camera. But yeah, I think that's it. Peace out.
Thank you for having me.